Hello, hello, this is Brian for Tavaran Games once again with an update to Dungeon Maker. So this update, the main thing that's been added is a new level slash floor system for your encounter maps, and that's the big thing, and we'll mostly talk about that. This is available in version 0.6.2 on Steam, and let's just jump right into that. So we'll edit campaigns. We're going to go to one where I've made up a little map here, and you can see sort of the beginnings of a map. And it looks pretty normal, like the same as you'd have seen before, the one layer. But in the corner here, you'll see we have a little text here that says what layer you're on, in this case 1, and then buttons to move up and down layers. So we go up, and you can see I've made a bit of a second floor and a third floor to this castle. And you can have up to 6 floors in your map, or on your map, I should say. And as we move up and down, there's a thin layer of that fog you can see between the floors to make it obvious sort of which floor you're on. So you can see down to the floors below if there's nothing blocking your view of it. So in this case, there's no floor here on this current layer, so we can see the floor below and everything on it. But it's covered in that fog layer, so you can tell very easily which layer you're looking at by basically how visible it is, just to make it very clear. So when you're actually adding to the map, so let's draw maybe a second little side building. So we'll just draw a quick little building here, maybe add some doors, stick a floor on that. And okay, so we have the beginnings of a building here on this floor. So let's go up to the next layer and we can start working on a floor, second floor above it. So if we start drawing on that floor, you can see a wall we draw doesn't try to connect to the walls below. It's independent. It only wants to try and connect to the walls on this floor, and you can see that works just fine. We can again add a floor for this one, and for objects in that, so say we're with the furniture objects, we'll do it over here. Say you have a chair, you want to put chairs in. You can only have one piece of furniture on each square. So you can see if we click on it again, it just disappears. But if we go up a layer, it doesn't affect it. It's not affected by the chairs on the layer below, and it's only affected by what we've drawn on the current layer. So every layer acts independently, and the same thing with the eraser. If we go in, start erasing, it only erases on this current floor. It doesn't touch anything on the floor below, so you can be sure you're only going to be erasing things and working with the floor you're currently looking at. And then with the utilities, like with the start position, you can put that on any floor you want, and that's where the players are going to spawn. So we'll put that back to where I want it. Yeah, and so you might be wondering though, in-game when your players are actually playing, how are they going to get between floors? Well, the teleporter utility is exactly how that happens. So if we place one end of a teleport utility, it'll spawn the destination point, and you can move that anywhere. Well, if we move up a layer, then that destination point will be on the upper layer, and you can move that and place it on any floor you want. Now, the easiest way for you to do that as the Dungeon Master is under the Furniture tab and the Stairs. So we have the wood and stone stairs. If we do those and we place a stairway, you can see it automatically spawns a teleport utility, and the destination is placed directly above it. So on the layer 1 above the stairs, and so when a player steps on one of these stairs you've placed like this, they will immediately move up to the floor above where the stairs are placed. So that's just a quick and easy way to place your teleports and get people able to move between floors, have your players move between the different levels, and you don't have to manually place the teleport. However, if you want to place the teleports manually, if you want to have a secret hidden entrance to another floor, a secret portal, whatever, you can still do that and have them go wherever you want. So now you don't have to separate the different levels of your map across one horizontal plane. In this one, it works vertically, and the players, when they play, will actually be able to see like you do here, where you can see down to the lower levels, so you can have some fun with the verticality. So that's how you draw it. Another control for that, if we look here, you can also use the period and comma keys or the square bracket keys to quickly move between the layers. So you don't have to click on the buttons in the lower right. Alright, so let's actually play around. I will host out of the editor window here. So let's host locally that campaign. So we'll get that going. And now with this one, let's just exit and join the campaign as a player. So you can see what this looks like for the players. We'll just put in the local IP and join the game. Alright, so we are in. So the Dungeon Master, let's go into the castle. So as the Dungeon Master, you can see in the lower left corner now is the layer buttons here. I put it over here because the messaging system on the right hand side goes all the way to the bottom. So this would be blocking the current messages being sent to the players. So I put it over here because it would take a lot of actions from one of your NPCs to actually get down all the way to here and cause issues. So this is what I consider to be the best location. I might move this in the future. But yeah, the DM can move up the different layers and look at whatever layer they want, and their vision won't be obscured. They can look down through. So when you're on a lower layer, you can't see up to the layers above. So you have to move up as the Dungeon Master or the player to then be able to see down and through all the layers. So if we go back to our player, walking around, you can see we have our light blocker here that hits walls and trees and other objects and blocks your line of sight. Only responds to the layer you're currently on. So you can have some crazy funky walls on another layer. It won't affect the layer you are currently, sitting on. So let's find those stairs we put in. So if we step on those, we instantly pop up to the next layer up where the stairs guide us, and we can see down. One little bit of fun, when you're on an upper floor, when you're above floor 1, the game is actually checking to see, are you actually standing on a physical floor? And if you're not, you will fall down and take corresponding fall damage, 1d6 for every level you fell down. So let's go up to the second floor, and if you hopped off this, we took actually less damage that time, but that would be 2d6 damage. It will roll behind the scenes into the damage to you. So what's going on is basically, as I mentioned, when you're on these upper floors, it's looking to see if you're standing on a physical floor object, and if you're not, it drops you down one layer and checks again, are you standing on a floor, until you either hit a floor or you reach layer 1. And it counts the number of levels you fall and then applies the 1d6 fall damage for each level. So the DM can have some fun crafting maps and building things. There, we took a little more damage that time and we were running low on health. So the DM can have quite a bit of fun, though, in the way they design levels and put things together for players to be able to sort of explore and maybe fall off things. And now the other thing that the players are going to be experiencing, though, is potentially spells. So I've programmed it so spells only exist and occur on the layer you're currently standing on. They will not affect players and NPCs and enemies on layers that above or below you, only on the layer you're currently on. So if we have this cone spell here and we cast it, you can see we've got these two NPCs on our current lit level, but there's another NPC here and there's one down here we couldn't really see on the level below. I'm going to try to get the 3 of them in. So if we cast that, it then hits the 2 on the level we're on, but it doesn't affect the 1 on the level below us. And that's true of your line spells and your circle spells. And then for duration spells, which we talked about in the last update, so if I place that down, it's sitting there, it's ready to go, it's a big trap. You can see it's only on that layer, it's not affecting the layer I'm currently on. So when I step into what would be its area, I'm not taking any damage. If I fall into it though, it will instantly affect me. So let's get myself some health back so I can actually walk back up there. Now the other thing, if we move the spell, and we're on a different level, a different layer than the spell was cast on, it will instantly move up to the layer we're on. So if you want to move spells between layers, you have to move which layer you're on. So if we drop down, it'll be on the layer we're currently on. I hit myself with something and lost my health. There we go. And we can cast on that layer again. So that's just a fun little feature. With that, the spells aren't acting like spheres. They're instead acting more like 2D planes. I might put in a function to have it affect higher levels in a sphere shape, but that's a little trickier given I'm using the 2D engine, and I would have to manually calculate out the size of the circle on each level it's not on and have it display. So for now, it's just affecting the layer it's on. So let's jump back to the Dungeon Master. Actually, let's move this character down to the lower floor. One tool the Dungeon Master has at their disposal is the ability to move players around by grabbing the player, and so we need to be on the same layer. If we grab the player, we can move that player around. Now, if we want to move them to a different layer, we can. Now, we can't really press those buttons because we're currently clicking the mouse button down to hold onto this player. As soon as we let go, we're not moving them anymore. So let's grab them, and then we'll use the same keys as in the editor. So the period key will move us up, the comma key down, and we can move the player to another level. And if we go over here, we're instantly there. We're at that level. Another fun thing you can do, you can leave your player in the abyss. Now, the fall actually won't occur until that player tries to move. At first, I figured that was a little bit of a bug, but then I found it kind of hilarious. You can just, like, the DM can kind of threaten their player, player noise. You just have them stand out of the abyss. Be like, look, I can rescue you if you quit being an idiot in this campaign, and you can drag them on back, or you can let them just move and take their fall damage. We took the lightning damage from hitting the spell. So, that's a fun new set of tools, I think, for everyone to use. And it is visible for all players if we open another window. Let's let that load. Just take a second, and we're going to join with another character. So we'll join in. We're going to pop into that map, and we can see everything fine. It's just syncing up the enemy portraits. So the other player, of course, is, as you can see the spells on the other levels, can see the other players. If we go down as the DM, grab this character, move him up to, let's move him up here. So the other player will no longer see them down there. He's going to have to move, and if he goes up to this layer, oh, there that other player is. So it will keep track of where all the players are, what levels they're on, and everyone will see it that way. So if we, wrong window, it's this one, yep. Oh, we have no health. There we go, let's move down a floor. And let's just put a cone of cold onto the map, and then move. Oh wow, that is still tracking. So you can see this is fun when trying to do it with multiple windows, but for the other player, they can see the spell on the layer below them. You can very clearly see which layer each of these spells is on. So that seems to be working pretty well. If you are playing on this version on Steam and have had a chance to play around with it, please let me know if it is working or if there's any bugs I've missed. If you are curious as to sort of how this is working, let's close these windows. Where's the other one? And look at our host window here. So we'll exit, and we'll actually go out of that scene. So let's just go into the map maker scene. So in 2D view, it looks pretty much the same. If we zoom out, you can see that fog there. So, but let's switch to 3D view. And this is sort of how I'm making that work. So you can see these fog layers are physical objects there. Each one is just a plane that is a slightly transparent white color. And it is big enough to cover a very large portion of the screen. So you can have quite big maps, and the fog should cover it. If you try to make something extremely sprawling and somehow don't hit the item limit, you might go past the fog. But I think I made it big enough to suit pretty much every map you will be making. Now, if we look at where the camera is placed, right now, the camera is in front of all that fog, and that's your sort of layer 1, and everything's drawn on this plane. If we then, actually, let's play the scene. And we are looking at this map, and if we go to scene view, again, we're there, and you can see the floor. Each floor is being drawn further on a different layer, and it also has its sorting order changed. So if we look at a wall on this layer 3, it has sorting order of 22. If we go to this one, this has sorting order 12. If we go down to the ground floor, it's sorting order 2. And that is what's keeping it between the fogs visible to the camera. But yeah, our camera is, let's find that. Oh, we got a long list of walls. So our camera is seeing that floor. So if we go into the game, let's go up a layer and then look back at the scene view. And the camera has now moved up to see this layer here between these two fog walls and above the items on this layer. And that's how it's working. So same thing in the multiplayer. The multiplayer has these fog walls, and it's drawing the items between the layers. And so when you save the game, it's saving those Z locations and calculating this. And then when you load the game, it's calculating the sorting orders for the items on those layers so that everything appears correctly in the camera. So I thought that was a fairly easy solution to being able to do this sort of multi-story work in-game. So the only other thing I really have for update this week, I redrew these brick wall elements, the stone bricks, in the style, like this hand-drawn style. So I haven't done the other walls yet. I just started with those and just wanted to make sure this hand-drawn style kind of works for the walls. And so I hope you like the way they look. Let me know what you think, or if you preferred the old wall and the way I was doing those. On the wall decorations, I've also added in some damage in that, so you can put some cracks on walls, or add some creeping ivy to the walls. to make it look a little more damaged and decayed or older, overtaken by nature. And I'll be adding more pictures to this sort of category, so this way you can do more ruins and destroyed and decayed places. And then furniture-wise, I've chucked in some statues, finally. I've been planning on drawing statues for you for quite a while, but only just got to drawing those this week. But so these are the starting statues that you can place. I'll be adding in more of those in the future, but it gives you some options there for decorating things. And then, yeah, just added some scrolls into our writing and books, because, who doesn't like to write on a scroll? So that's all I have for you this week. Hopefully you like the new update. And again, if you ever have any suggestions of what you want to see added to Dungeon Maker in the future, feel free to comment below or add to the discussions on the Steam page for Dungeon Maker. And until next time, have a good one.